Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I hope you've had a better year than you've had a better day. Either way, look, welcome to our crocodile show, folks. My name's Mick. This behind me here is Drew. He's bravely volunteered to come down and guard me today. Because when I do crocodile shows, I get a bit carried away. I think it's fair to say. And if worse comes to worse, and Hagrid here springs out of the water and gets me by the guts and pulls me in for the crocodile roll. What the hell was that? See Drew spring to life and charge around there and settle everyone down to make sure you all get a good photo. Good start to the new year. It's enough of that. The last thing he told me before I opened this gate was be careful. Now he's here chucking rocks at me. Righto, look, this is Hagrid. Hagrid is a saltwater or estuarine crocodile, because those of you that were here at 11 o'clock this morning already learnt that most of your population of saltwater crocs actually live in freshwater, so the name is a little bit misleading. But he's a salty, that's how I'll refer to him for the rest of the show. He's 3.8 metres long, he is 200 kilograms, that's plenty big enough, isn't it? Yeah, they get bigger than that though, they get quite a bit bigger than that. In fact, everyone's seen him. You see Ted, the big fella just near the restaurant there? Yeah. Seen him lying down there? Yeah. 5.2 metres, would you believe? Yeah. 700 or 800 kilograms, that's a big croc. And they're your average, that's your average size for your males. The males go a lot bigger than the females do. The average size, 4.5 to over 5 metres. They even reckon they get bigger than that. There's arguments for and against it, of course. Years they've been arguing how big crocodiles get. There's the old tale through the hunting era. We used to hunt crocodiles in Australia. In the 1950s there was a husband and wife crocodile hunting team there. They brought back a report having shot a crocodile 8.6 metres in length. 28'4" in the old money. That's pretty big. They didn't bring back any proof, of course. There was no photos or skins or skulls or anything. I'm not saying they didn't kill that crocodile, or there wasn't one that big, but they couldn't prove it. There's another bloke, an old Cape York croc shooter. He was shooting crocs for 33 years, and he's been waiting ever since then for someone to prove to him that there's a 6 metre croc out there. He's got $1,000 in his pocket for someone that can prove to him there's a 6 metre crocodile. So that's pretty convincing on the other end of it there. But certainly, like I said at the start there, 3.8 metres, that's plenty big enough to rearrange my day. Size isn't everything. In fact, the smallest croc that I know of that was responsible for the death of a human being was a 2.3 metre female. Just a little girl. She was defending her nest. This bloke comes swimming along trying to pinch her eggs, and she didn't want that, understandably. Chomp got him, held him under, I don't know what happened, but yeah, sorted him out. So size isn't everything at all. This fella there, Hagrid, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get him out of the water and serve him and get a good look at him. There is a lot of water today though. I'll see if he's hungry. Yeah, look away if you're squeamish.
It's a chicken.
There we go.
It's a chicken.
What is he doing?
This is a good opportunity too, folks. You can see Hagrid there in
What is he doing?
his natural environment. You know, he can walk, he can get out here and walk and run, not real fast, but he can move around pretty quick on land. But in there, in the water, that is their territory. They're a lot more dynamic, as you can see. He's swimming quite slowly at the minute, and it's not very deep. But what do you notice at the surface? Apart from the ripples I've made, he's not really making any, is he? So, very good at what they do in their underwater environment. I'm going to get him up nice and close here, make sure everyone can get a good look at him.
Down back up.
What is he doing?
Trying to get Hagrid up.
Who? Hagrid.
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 Like that at all, Drew.
Who said that?
Yeah. Just want to get him up. Yeah. I'll bravely back out. Get him up here, just give you an example of what he can do. Would you like a piece of chicken? like that. Hey, get over there. Go for a swim. Go for a swim. I need to get over there and keep the show going.
Can I pull further away?
Would you be so kind? You like my chances?
No.
Get over there and sort him out for me. Just going to get Drew to swish him over that side for me so I can get across the other side where it's a bit safer. Drew's actually in training to do this show, and this is one of his first training exercises for the afternoon. You're getting really good at that, Drew. What have we got here? Right, yeah, there he is once again. You can see Hagrid get down until Drew splashed a bit. You can see him getting under the water there. This is one part I like to look at. Just have a look here real quick. You can't see that crocodile, so I won't hang around too long. Picture this, an earthen sort of bit of a boat ramp, and you've seen how easily he gets along under the water, undetected, not very deep. Imagine that, you know, a little bit more murky, a little bit darker, a few lilies, a few reeds on the top. How are you meant to see him coming? Just be honest with yourself for a second, and I don't even necessarily mean this part of the country, anywhere in Australia. How many people here have been out fishing, gone fishing, you've launched the boat and you're standing in the water, knee to waist deep, or even as deep as I am here, holding on to the boat while your mate goes and parks the car. Yeah. And I see this, here, up here, I see people do this in Northern Australia. I'm from Darwin, I've seen it a lot. It really strikes me as, I don't know, it interests me why people do that, because they can get up here very closely undetected there. They're very good at what they do. You can see him, did you see him get right over here? Not even a ripple at the surface. I really think that's interesting. They're very good in their environment, we already know that. This water's pretty dark. You may not be able to see very well down there. Even in clear water, they don't see underwater any better than we do. But they've got other ways of compensating that. Now they're an aquatic predator. Up the sides of Hagrid's jaws, he's got these interesting little, these little glands. Up the sides of his body as well, up his flanks. These, little glands, and they detect vibrations in the water and changes in water pressure. The croc under there with zero visibility. Feel the fish swim past, smack, he knows he can have a chomp at it. Things like that. So it's very much their environment down there. A bit deep. Now I want to talk to you about why they do attack. Like, this is the idea of our little show today, I suppose. Since 1975 in Australia, we've had about 30 deaths from crocodiles, that we know of, 30 recorded crocodile deaths. Since 2002, we've had about 10. Just last year, the previous year, there was 3 people taken in Australia by crocodiles, and 2 of those were children, young children, and that's a tragedy. There's no other way of looking at that. And I do think that most of these, if not all of these attacks, could have been prevented to some degree. Now, I'll be realistic, and you'll agree with me here, there are some places that crocodiles don't belong. Cairns, you know, the Esplanade and the Trinity Inlet there. It's safe to say now that that's our environment, isn't it? And there is measures in place to protect us there. Crocodiles are relocated onto farms and that sort of goes on. But when we go into their environment, we head further north, and we get into the wetlands in the Northern Territory there. Not as many people around, crocodiles everywhere, that is their environment. And I do think a lot of the responsibility comes back on us. We need to modify our behaviour to some degree, don't we? It's their environment. They're just doing what they've done for millions of years. So if you can take anything away from today's little chat that we're having, is just a bit of common sense. Doesn't go astray when you're out in the crocodile territory. But why do they attack? I've lost him again. Can you chuck the stick for me, Drew, please? I know it's hot. I hate to have you moving around, you poor old fella. Good man, yeah? There you go. Where is that crocodile? Oh, no, thank you. He's in there somewhere, folks. It's only that deep. He's completely hidden under the surface. You don't need very deep water to hide a big crocodile. No worries there. Anyway, why do they attack? Self-defence is a big one. Nest defence. You know, this time of year in particular, female crocs guarding their nests, looking after their little ones. Food acquisition is a big one. What I like to do is have a quick look at their lifestyles and how they differ from ours. You all know your own lifestyle and how you grew up, fairly loving, no doubt. That's how it starts for little crocs too, I suppose. Here's an old man croco, well, big Ted out there we've met, who I told you about before. He's probably 100 years old. Grew up very differently than we did though. It was good at the start, you know, he hatched out of an egg, about this big, 60 brothers and sisters with him. Very first time a crocodile communicates with the outside world is to from the inside the egg, to let mum know it's time to go. So his little chirps, it's real cute stuff, these little baby crocs calling out. Mum croc comes along, she digs out the nest, even sometimes 1 or 2 eggs at a time, she puts them in her mouth, goes down to the water's edge and cracks them, helps these little baby crocs out into the world. Very loving. Even some species of croc have a creche period to look after the little ones. Anyway, keeping in mind, this mother crocodile, she's gone 3 months sometimes without eating. The whole 3 months, not eat a thing to look after this nest, to guard it. So she's pretty hungry. Once these little crocs, little Ted and all his brothers and sisters, they start feeding themselves, looking after themselves, mum knows they're right to go. So just as easily as the day she hatched them out, she goes up to 3 of them and goes chomp and eats them. Her own kids, doesn't worry her at all. So the little crocs realise that, oh, life's not exactly what I thought, let's get out of here, time to go and hide. So off they go, swim out in the edge of the lagoon, and they start learning that life's pretty tough for little crocodiles because as they're swimming off, an eagle swoops down and goes, takes up little sister right there beside him. Get out of here, he's got to go and hide somewhere else. As he's taken off with one of his other little brothers and sisters, out of nowhere, chomp, barramundi comes up, gets her. Life's very tough for little crocodiles, there's no doubt about it. It's a very violent world for crocodiles because they get a bit bigger and all around them is violence. Other crocs fighting, dominance, territory, this sort of thing. Crocs get a little bit bigger, right? Little Ted, swimming around. He's learned a few lessons. Every time he sees something like that, he's learned another lesson. But he's still a bit carefree, being young, and he swims into the wrong part of the river. A big croc comes along and chomp, gets hold of him, right? Grabs him really hard and shakes him round. Busts through ribs, rips off an arm or half his hand or something. And that really, really hurts, but he gets lucky, right? You know, he survives that. Shoots off, hides up in the creek, up in the mangroves. He's hiding. Another lesson learned just there. He's got to hide there and sit there for a month or so to heal. While he's there hiding, he looks out into the lagoon, sees that big croc that got him and sees an even bigger croc come along and then it's on again. These 2 big crocs clash at the time and smash each other. That croc that got him, he sees it get its head ripped off. That's a crocodile's life. They witness this stuff every day. They get a bit bigger, they get as big as Hagrid here, wherever he's gone. There you go. Gets as big as Hagrid and they start thinking a bit differently than crocs. Little Ted, when he gets bigger, they start thinking about girls. He goes around, this time of year it's warming up, he's starting to think about maybe getting some youngsters on the go, we'll call it. Parading around the lagoon, showing off, trying to get the attention of the females. There's another big croc there that doesn't like that, so it's on again. Just fights for this sort of stuff, you know, big clashes there. Ted wins this time, by the way, cleans up, and he's grown now, you know. He's learned all these lessons, he's learned the hard way in a really violent world. Just to get food, just for crocodiles to eat, they have to kill and overpower other animals. So it's a really violent world. Then you add us, the human element. You put us in their environment. They either see us as food or a competitor, don't they? That's the way I like to describe it to people to give you an understanding of why it's a bad idea to go swimming with crocodiles. Don't get me wrong, it's easy to not be eaten by a crocodile. Don't swim with them. Don't get down in the water with them. It's as simple as that. Just a few little things that you can do to modify your behaviour to ensure you're going to have a good day at the water. If you're fishing, stand back a little bit from the water's edge. They're a water's edge based predator, they'll launch out and get you, there's no doubt about it. Stand back a little bit. That's good too. People ask me, how do you get away from one if it chases you? Well, if you're up on the land, that's a good thing. Like we said at the start, you can run on the land, but they're not built for endurance. You know those ones, actually, it's really good. I've seen it on telly, I've heard it everywhere. If a crocodile chases you, you go in zigzags. You know that one? Ever heard that? Hey? I'm not thinking about elephants. I'll get to some questions later on. But I hear those ones, you zigzag, you run in circles, if a croc's chasing you, that's rubbish. If a croc's coming at you from that way, turn around and run that way. Really, really fast. Go 500 metres if you want. He's going to get about 5 metres and he'll stop. He's out of breath. They know, look, if they can't catch you in that first 5 metres, they're not going to keep trying. It's as easy as that. Right, so I'm going to get him up again. I'll see if I can get a jump out of him.
Come here.
I don't like my chances though, because the sun will be in his eyes and I've lost him again. There you are. Yeah, that's the go. I'll get him around here. I'll see if I can get a jump out of him. Come around here, brother. You like a piece of fish? You like my hand or my hat? Maybe a chicken, Drew?
There he goes.
That's its last flight. Where'd you go? Oh.
Not again.
I lost him. Can anyone see him?
Down in the gate, mate, look out!
Good on you, Croc.
He's there.
God, have you ever seen a crocodile that's not hungry? There, we're getting somewhere.
She's yours.
He misses out. There's another crocodile here. I know there's a big fence there. He's a little bit hard to find sometimes as well. Should be here somewhere here about. Where are you? Where are you? Oh. There he is. An idea of how high they can jump. Would you like a piece of fish? Oh. He dropped that, but it's... Alright, we're going to do it a different way. I need the bait, please, Drew. I'm going to... That's Bart, by the way, back there. He's our other show crocodile. He's the same size as Hagrid. He's got a nice big jaw slap on him. Okay, crocodiles, we know why they attack, I suppose, and we're starting to get a bit more understanding of their lifestyles. I'll show you how they do it. We've got a few different ways. Crocodiles, they don't eat very much. Even our real big crocs around in the park, you've seen some of them, Paul and Solly. Ted's a big fella out there. They get fed every 2 weeks, that's it. A couple of chooks every couple of weeks, that'll do them. They don't eat much at all. But they take down very large prey items. I've seen it in the wild. Big croc like him out there will take down a horse, a cow, a buffalo, human being. If you go in the water with them, you are definitely on the menu. They do eat very big things, but they don't eat the whole lot of it, do they? They've got different ways of rendering it into smaller bits. I'll just get you to sit back there, mate, because they do jump up at the fence. Thank you. Especially this critter. He's not jumping at me today. He's got to jump somewhere. Yeah, so we'll take down very large. Picture this. Think of a buffalo. Comes down there to have a bit of a drink, right? And he has a look around. Can't see anything. Coast is clear. Nose down in the water. Starts having a bit of a drink. Hagrid here, in his infinite stealth and hiding on me. Sees him and has a bit of a look, needs some versions. Crocodiles can stay in the water for a long time, very patient, couple of hours, multi-hours, all our crocodiles will do. Anyway, he sneaks over to this poor old buffalo having a drink over here. Under the water, the buffalo, maybe has a look again, sticks his nose up, coast is still clear, nose goes down into the water. Hagrid does the same, looks up, buffalo's still down having a drink, so he gets right up, he's going into the kill, and he commits. There's suggestions and theories too that they'll back out if they're not 100% sure of the kill, you know, of the attack. But this time he's committed. He gets right really close, nice and close. I wish I knew where he was. Nice and close. Gets the Crocs, saltwater Crocs, they have 49% tail. That's just muscle, that's a big propeller at the back there. He gets that tail going flat out, he launches out of the water and bang, gets hold of this thing by the nose. And he's thought about that too. Crocs have only got a little brain, but they use it, they're thinkers. Get a big buffalo, that's a scary looking critter, but he gets it by the snout. Horns aren't going to get him then. Snout really hurts, blocks off the airways. Bit of a surprise for the old buffalo too. So with a big head shake, drops it, knocks it on the ground, drags it out in the water, down underneath it goes. Just waits for it to stop wriggling. They know that we're not the best underwater. A couple of minutes down there, buffalo's done. Time to eat. He needs to rip it into smaller bits. So what's he do? The crocodile roll. You all know that, don't you? Heard about that? The death roll, the newspapers like to call it. I don't like that much though, I like the crocodile roll. And that's what I'm hoping to demonstrate to you now. Although, the way my luck's going today, one would wonder. I'll get around a little bit, I can actually see him now, believe it or not. Shall we cooperate at all?
No.
Oh, roll straight away, no head shake today. Oh, there it is, one more big roll. There it is, there's a head shake. First thing, big head shake, knock it off balance, knock it over, hold it underwater, stops wriggling, come back here. You've done your rolling. Imagine that, 200 kilos of crocodile clamped around your leg, goes into a big roll, clutched it off, dinner time, too easy. The crocodile roll. Thank you very much, Hagrid. Just let him give him a second to get his breath back. Now that's the easy bit. Crocodile, he's got his food, got his dinner. They do it a bit different, they chew it differently than us. They don't have cheeks, they don't have tongue, they can stick out to manipulate food. All he does, sticks his head up, chomps it a bit, gets it into the right shape and just throws it down the back of the throat. And then, with my cat-like reflexes, when he's trying to chomp it and swallow it, I'm going to pull it out of his mouth real quick. We'll just leave him there to sort that out for a second. So I hope that we're getting a bit of an understanding of why it's a bad idea to swim with crocodiles. But I guess I can tell you these sort of stories all day. But you shouldn't stress, like there's plenty of places up here you can go swimming and have a bit of fun with crocs. Oh, without crocs rather. Like if you want to go swimming, who here at the moment has been to Mossman Gorge? Anyone? A couple of yous. Or even Crystal Cascades in the city, closer to the city there. Little rainforest streams come out of the mountains, out of the hills. Sorry folks. Little rainforest streams that come out of the hills there. No crocs. Safe to go swimming. There's dozens of places like that between Mossman and Innisfail. Some only a few minutes from the city. You can safely swim. Oh, Croc, you're making it hard. you can swim at the beach, folks. But at this time of the year, I beg you, swim at the necks where the lifesavers are, because there might be crocodiles out there, but the jellyfish will get you first. There's no doubt about that. And even during the winter time, swim at the beach, but swim during the day. Yeah, swim during the daytime because crocs are nocturnal. It's their that's when they're hunting. And in the daytime you'll see them coming. There's no two ways about it. And other places like Lake Tinaroo, only an hour from Cairns. Safe places to swim, no crocodiles. So yeah, it's easy. And when you go into the areas where there are crocs, and I'm not saying you should, but just modify your behaviour a bit. Don't go in the water with them. It's as easy as that. We're going to finish up soon, folks. Is there any questions at all? Something we'd like to operate? Yeah, mate? Sorry? Yeah, I probably should. I might, what we're going to do actually, it's much more exciting. I'm going to get the stick there that Drew's got, and I'll chuck it over to him now, and he'll take it round over your side and get him jumping up good and proper. Any other questions? There was one. Yeah, mate? How heavy are they? Well, Hagrid here is about 200 kilograms. His head out there is 800 or 900 kilograms. Most big crocs, they average about 500 kilograms. They're big, they're heavy animals. Anything else? Yeah, up the back there. What was that, mate? How old can they get? Well, I keep bringing him up. Our old mate Ted out there, we got him 20 years ago, and then they were saying he could be around 80 years old. So they live quite a long time. We reckon it's very hard to tell. There's different ways of doing it, but yeah, 60 to 80 years old maybe is a good life expectancy. But in captivity, if you look after them, they probably can live a bit longer. Yes, down the front there, matey. Oh, you'll do up the back. Sorry. Hagrid is about 25 years old. Yeah. Yes, little mate? Did you forget? Sorry? How do they jump up? With their tail. Because their tail's half their body length. In here it's a bit shallow, we might spring off the ground a bit. But in deep water they just lift the nose up and they get the tail down below them. And they sort of wriggle it like that, like a flipper, and just launch them up straight up out of the water. Really strong stuff. We've got one more. I'm going to finish up. You there, mate? Yep. How long do they live? I'm pretty sure I was asked that one just a second ago. Maybe about 100 years. Righto, we're going to get Drew to feed this critter. He's going to feed you. Oh, he's ready to go.
How far can they jump forward?
Forward?
Say on the land.
Oh, they can get a big lunge. They'll cover a couple of metres, you know, if you let them.
So that baby that Steve Irvine had wasn't in any danger because he was moving across the way, wasn't he?
Look, that man had worked with crocodiles longer than me,
Yeah.
but I certainly wouldn't hold a kid there like that. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have, but I wouldn't, just with my own ability. I don't know them crocodiles he was with either, so.
Well, I wouldn't hold a baby that close to him. Ready?
Now what's that out of? Now what's that?
Chicken.
Folks, look, there's a few other things you can do today. If you enjoyed my style of show, you're in luck because I'm going to do a cassowary talk down the thing here at 4:15. if you didn't like my show. Tough. Up here at Hartley.